Hi, my name is Wouter, and I would like to show you a project that I've been working on for about the past year now, which is called WireQuery. WireQuery allows you to basically query any system within a distributed IT landscape, like microservices, which can be very valuable for gaining insights in how a system behaves or to spot errors, debug errors. And yeah, basically I would like to give you a little bit of a demo of how it works. Imagine you have a web shop. So this is the computer shop. You have a keyboard, a 4K display and a mouse, and you want to be able to add it to a basket. So this system basically consists of three subsystems. So the first one is the front end, and then there is a basket service, and both the front end and the basket service connect to a product catalog service. And imagine there's a problem with the basket, then I might want to query or at least listen to the requests being made to that basket service. In that case, because I created an application over here called basket, I can simply type basket and then I can, for example, put the method there, status code, and or a path. And all of these are optional, and then I can start listening to the incoming requests. So in this case, if I press add to basket, then you'll see that basically it makes these API calls. And here I can see basically what the actual API calls that were made are. I can see, for example, the response body, the request headers, and basically everything you need to know about the API interactions between these services. So for example, here you see the keyboard. But you can also create more complex filters. So for example, imagine I only want to have the list of the... What if I, for example, want to have all the unique product names within the basket and within all the baskets? Then what I can basically do is I go flat map over the response body, which basically because the response body in this case is always an array or a list, what it will do, it will first just fetch those. And if I then want to have, for example, the name, I map over it and I say, give me the name. And then of course, if I refresh, those will not be unique. So I can type distinct. And now if I reload this page a couple of times or interact with it, then I'll only keep the unique names over here. So basically you can query almost anything you like. So this is really versatile and you can do a lot with it. You can also run a query in the background by pressing the save button. And as I mentioned, this product is mostly valuable for dealing with complex IT landscapes with a lot of distributed systems. And for that, there's basically, you can, instead of just a normal query that you have in your Explorer, you also have query with tracing. I think this is also quite an interesting feature. So let's create a query here, basket with tracing, I'll name it. And now I'll just add some things to the basket and refresh. And now if I press here, then what you can see is not only does it collect the data that I wanted to collect, but it also contains the whole, basically the whole trace with all the interactions between all the systems. So in order to reproduce this, to produce this 4K display result, it had to go to the basket entries service and it had to make this call. And the basket entry service or the basket service basically called products. So yeah, of course there's distributed tracing. The main difference here is that it not only captures some metadata, but it's basically the whole thing. And by the way, you may think like, hey, how does it, like some data is confidential, right? But here it is as well. So basically by default, everything is masked. So everything is designed with privacy in mind, but yeah, unmasking is just as easy as masking. In some cases, you may want to run multiple queries at the same time. And in order to do that, you can create a template, which can then be instantiated. So I'll show you how a template is structured. So it has a name, a description, and it has a field allow user initiation, which will be really interesting when we get there. And here you can set fields that you can and should fill in once you instantiate a template. And then you have query templates. For example, as we already saw here you have an account ID, and then in this query the account ID will be substituted for whatever you put in there. And now I can either press here on new, where I can, everywhere I am, I can press new session, pick a template, fill in the required fields, and then it will start a session for you. And whereas a session is basically a group of queries. But as we already saw in the templates, a template can also be instantiated by the end user essentially. So this is basically allow user initiation. And what basically that means is that the end user can start a session. And why would you want to do that? Well, imagine you're a customer of a certain web shop, for example. You run into a problem and you want to let the developers know or let the company know that you're having this problem. In this case, of course, you can make it look very nice and have a really nice flow, but what it all comes down to is that you can start a recording and you can add things to the basket, for example, and once you're done, it will end up here as a session. And not only do you get the whole traces, but basically it also gives you a video that you can replay, and so that you basically get a whole overview of everything that happened while you ran into, for example, a certain problem. And I think this can be very valuable for solving some of the issues that you may run into. So that's WireQuery in a nutshell. Of course, there are some managerial things that you can do, like adding users, defining user roles, etc. But yeah, this is really the core. If you like to use it, it's available for free. It's open source. It's on GitHub. So you can go to github.com/wirequery/wirequery or visit wirequery.io. And I'm really looking forward for some feedback. And I really hope it can be of a lot of value for you. And thanks for watching. Bye.